Casey Gray here from The Conscious Builder, and you are watching another episode of Construction Tech Nerd, where I update you on all of the emerging technology in the construction world, or technology that I see as potentially affecting the construction world. If you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe, hit the bell button so you get notifications when these videos come out, as well as all the other videos that we're doing, including conversations with industry professionals, updates on our current projects, and questions that I'm answering from a lot of our viewers like yourself. On today's episode, I'm going to get into smart traffic lights, automated trash cans, augmented reality headsets, and warehouse robots with superhuman perception. So let's get into today's episode. First, I'm going to start with Seal's smart traffic lights will charge EVs and drones. As the city's Today report explains, the city of Seoul, South Korea has already installed 26 smart poles in 6 areas of the city. Each pole's functions is customized to the requirements of its specific location. SMG, which stands for the Seoul Metropolitan Government, is piloting a version of the S-Pole system, which is also able to charge drones and electric vehicles, as well as count the footfall of nearby pedestrians. Essentially, this trend is part of an initiative to make the cities of the future less cluttered amidst the surge of new technologies. Further examples are smart bins, ground-level traffic lights, 5G poles that are hidden in plain sight. So these, for example, the 5G poles, a little off topic here, but those could be things like literally look like a cactus, and it's a 5G pole instead of having these big poles that we all notice them, and they're not very attractive to look at. So why is this important? Well, essentially, our cities are becoming smarter and smarter, and we need all of this technology because we're more connected than ever. So these are things that are inevitably going to happen. How do I feel about all of these waves being transmitted all over the place? I'm not sure about that yet. Things that I'm continuing to watch, seeing how it affects us as humans. But a lot of really cool stuff happening. A lot of connectivity between everything, and this is just the way of the future. Everything's going to be connected. I'm not going to necessarily get into what's happening with implants and so forth, but that's stuff that I read on too. But a lot of interesting things, not something that I would be volunteering myself for by any means, but this is the type of stuff that's happening. We are going to be connected to absolutely everything. Next, I want to get into new automated trash can drives itself to the curb on trash day. This would be very handy for me because I often forget trash day. So if you thought a motorized vacuum cleaner was a smart household tool, think again. Now your trash can wheel itself to the curb on trash day. Personally, I'm a huge fan of the robot vacuums. They save a lot of time. They do an okay job, but if you have an animal, which we don't, if you have a pet, you can run this daily, which I'm sure some people didn't realize it as much before when they weren't home, but now being home, you have to listen to the thing run more often. But funny story, I actually got one of these for a family. I bought it for my wife as like a gift, more of a family gift, but it was to her on Christmas, and she's like, "Why'd you buy me a vacuum?" But now she loves the thing because it saves her so much time, and I bought it because she actually hates vacuuming. So now since we bought that, she really doesn't have to vacuum, and the thing has been fantastic. We named it Mickey. Our son named it. So when we talk about Mickey, that is our vacuum. Anyways, no more forgetting trash day and having to wait a few more days for your trash to smell like a concocted cesspool of fermented foods. We have green bins where we live here, and that is exactly what the green bin smells like. It operates as simply as it sounds. You link up your smart can to the companion app, create a pre-programmed schedule that informs the trash can which days and times it needs to wheel itself out to the roadside, and then it returns itself to its allocated spot by your house when it's done. All you need to do is add our 2 docking stations, one where the trash can resides and one on the curbside road where the sanitation workers pick up the trash. So obviously there's some issues with this I was seeing right off the bat, but I do like where the technology is going. It's going in the right direction. So for example, questions that they've put in here: what if the garbage pickup workers don't drop the can precisely in front of its docking station when they're done? The trash won't be able to wheel itself back to the resting spot. What if your city won't allow you to place a permanent docking station out on the side of the street? What if something gets in the way of the augmented path and the trash can is meant to follow? Other things that come to mind are, what about snow? What about it just becomes kind of a safety hazard? You kind of have a tripping hazard. So I feel like having that docking station has to be flat on the ground. These are things that, once again, they'll work in places that are warmer, in warmer climates, and the pavements may be smooth. But if you have a dirt road, or if you have snow or salt, whatever it may be, this could be an issue. So maybe the trash can needs to be redesigned, and once again, it has to have tracks or something like that. But either way, like I said, I love where the technology is going. It's another one of those technologies that are getting rid of our everyday chores and freeing up more time for us to do whatever we choose to do with that time. All right, we'll move on to the next one. Microsoft secures $29 billion deal making augmented reality headsets for U.S. Army. That's a huge number. Anyways, we won't get into that part, but the technology is based on Microsoft's HoloLens headsets, which were originally intended for the video game and entertainment industries. Pentagon officials have described the futuristic technology, which the Army calls its integrated visual augmentation system, as a way of boosting soldiers' awareness of their surroundings and their ability to spot targets and dangers. Users can control what they see using hand gestures or voice commands. So really cool stuff. How does this affect the construction world? This is something that I could see working as a safety, right? You have goggles, you have to wear goggles on site anyway. So now you have safety goggles. Not only are these goggles protecting your eyes from flying debris and so forth, but they're also giving you information. Maybe they spot something that was built incorrectly. Maybe they spot a hazard, a safety hazard that you should pick up. Whatever it may be, it's giving you information so that you can act on that instead of maybe not realizing it, or maybe it speeds up building because the plans are literally built in this. I talked about this on previous tech videos. You have the plans maybe built into the glasses, and it's telling you what your bolt pattern is for some engineered beam that needs to be built, or maybe it's telling you exactly what the size of the header is or what the size of the posts are, so there wouldn't be any human errors, because sometimes, we are human, right? So we make a lot of mistakes on sites. That happens. This would prevent some of those mistakes from happening as long as they're programmed correctly anyways. So a lot of really cool stuff. I could see this coming down to construction as well as other parts of the world, but I'm focusing on construction here. And what excites me a lot here is this is what we know they're working on. I'm sure there's all sorts of other things that the military is working on that we have no idea about, and a lot of that stuff ends up coming to us later. So cool things happening here. The last thing I want to talk about is researchers aim to give warehouse robots superhuman perception. So a new robot developed by the research called RF Grasp relies on radio waves that can pass through walls and sense occluded objects. So occluded are objects that are basically closed up, potentially in a box, right? So if you don't know what's in that box, this would allow it to figure out what's in that. So one potential use case for this new technology is in e-commerce, where it could help make warehouse fulfillment more efficient, or could locate tools in a toolkit. With the dramatic rise in e-commerce, the work is becoming increasingly more intense for human workers, which still complete most of it. However, this is sometimes a problem given the dangerous working conditions. So why e-commerce construction? But the thing is, at the end of the day, we are ordering a lot more for the job site. Right now, as I'm recording this, stores are shut down and we can't go in and get something. We have to order everything. So there's a lot more things happening on the warehouse front. So if this was something that would speed things up, then I'm all for it, right? And you don't know, maybe there's multiple things in a box, right? So instead of having to unpack things to make sure it's right, something like this can just make sure that everything is there. So once again, it's just making things more efficient, making things quicker. And nowadays, that's what it's all about. We want to get things right away. If we ordered it now, we want it an hour from now. Unfortunately, we're becoming so used to this level of service, this efficiency, that it just needs to get better, or else we get disappointed. If you've ever been on a plane, for example, which hasn't been recently for too many people, and you have the internet, then all of a sudden the internet goes out 15 minutes later. You could be all excited one moment because you weren't expecting it, and then you lose it, and then all of a sudden it's like the worst day of your life because you just lost something that you thought you had. So anyways, that's what happens with us as humans. We get used to something, and then if it doesn't deliver, then we are completely disappointed. Anyways, I'm not going to continue on that. I just wanted to share this because there's a lot of really cool technology out there that are going to make things better, more quicker, more efficient. And that means we can reduce time and reduce costs and continue to stick to what we're good at in terms of building buildings, at least in the construction world. So hope you enjoyed this episode of Construction Tech Nerd. And until next time, live consciously.